The Vancouver Canucks are going all in trading for Elias Lindholm. It's been a long time. It's been a long time we've been aggressive at a deadline, or not even a deadline before. It's been a long time we've been good. Playoff hockey will be in Rogers Arena this year.
It should be.
Will be. In today's episode, we react to the Canucks and Flames trade, as well as the Blue Jays' lackluster offseason.
But how could you not bring JD Martinez in? How do you not bring in Jorge Soler? You can't tell me this is it.
And stay tuned for our reaction for the Joel Embiid injury.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR podcast.
Before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe.
As always, make sure you guys follow our socials, link down below. Podcast listeners, whatever audio platform you guys use, rate it, review it, download it. We would greatly appreciate it. We're officially ending January on 361 subscribers, give or take, because we still have 4 hours to go. But once again, appreciate the support. Keep watching our content. We're trying to, what's the word? Grow, mix things up.
Learn, improve.
So keep subscribing because we're not stopping. And yeah, we appreciate you guys once again. Hopefully 500 by our first year anniversary of the pod is the goal right now. So hit that subscribe button. But let's get right into it. We're not talking NFL for once in our lives because Super Bowl's so far away. Even the NHL was supposed to be boring because we're in All-Star break. But we scrapped our whole plan because the Canucks made another trade. Again with a divisional rival, another Canadian team with the Calgary Flames. Elias, whatever you guys prefer to say, we don't know. Lindholm is officially a Vancouver Canuck. And it was a couple hours ago, so it's still fresh in our minds. But the full trade package was Elias Lindholm to the Vancouver Canucks for winger Andrei Kuzmenko, defensive prospects Hunter Rustevich and Yoni Yermo, a 2024 first-round pick, this year's draft obviously, and a 2024 conditional fourth. That condition is it will turn to a third-round pick this year if the Canucks make the Western Conference Final. The other factor of this trade was Kuzmenko had to also waive his no-trade clause to accept the move to Calgary. There's a lot of details there. Last part of the detail, no salary retention for Calgary of his $4.85 million deal, and he's a pending UFA, which is Lindholm is a pending UFA.
Is a pending UFA. So obviously we're going to start with the Canucks side. Reason being, we're Canucks fans, and it's been a long time. It's been a long time we've been aggressive at a deadline, or not even a deadline before. It's been a long time we've been good. Playoff hockey will be in Rogers Arena this year.
It should be.
Will be. And yeah. And this is going to add to that for sure. Elias Lindholm, he is a Selke candidate, usually year in and year out. Obviously, if Bergeron didn't exist, he could have won one.
He was a finalist 2 years ago, I think, 3 years ago. Lindholm not having greatest year point production wise, but Huberdeau forgot how to play hockey. You don't have Gaudreau and Tkachuk anymore in Calgary, who he had a career highs in. Essentially.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have that with Pettersson probably. That's what we're anticipating your first game being with a Pettersson line.
Keep in mind this is fresh. We haven't gone into the details of what the line's gonna be because it's an All-Star break. So yeah, we'll continue.
And then he's gonna add. He's a top 6 forward. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Right. He may not be having one of the best years of his career, but you cannot deny that Elias Lindholm is a top 6 forward in this league. Canucks need a top 6 forward. They got one. Elias Lindholm is clearly the best player in this trade, obviously, because the other two are prospects, and one is a struggling second-year player in Andrei Kuzmenko.
Okay. First off, Lindholm was an All-Star, so the Canucks got a 6th player All-Star, 7th including the coach. But the All-Star, I was listening to Halford and Bruff. They brought a Calgary guy on literally yesterday. And he was saying that he was also surprised that Lindholm was the All-Star instead of Mackenzie Weegar, Chris Tanev, Jacob Markstrom, even Nazem Kadri at the most. But, he's still an All-Star caliber player, two-way player, key add there, helps with the penalty kill, has playoff experience. The key thing here is the top 6 forward part, but the Canucks have options. You could either run the 3, you could run the Lotto line and he has his own second pair, or you pair him with Elias Pettersson, keep Besser and Miller together. Or if you really, what the plan with Horvat was before, you run the depth of the center going. The problem with that is you want your centers to play with elite wingers, You're not going to get the best out of Lindholm that way. You're not going to get the best out of PD that way, especially that he lost Kuzmenko, which obviously he wasn't doing much this year anyways. But you have options, right? Because this is why people say trading for centers is the best, because you could ship them on the wing, right? PD's done that. Miller's done that. P. Suter has done that. I think Sam Lafferty's a center who was converted into a winger. The only guy who consistently played center was probably Bluger at this point.
Yeah, Bluger. Probably Niels Ullman.
I think he played on the wing too with Bluger, so I don't know.
Nah, Bluger was with the other guys.
No, early on in the year when I think Suter was healthy.
I'm talking about at the current moment, yeah.
Yeah, but
Niels Ullman is the center.
Listen, overall with the Canucks, like we'll talk about the Calgary side of the trade. I think it's a 50-50 at the moment. It all depends on if Lindholm resigns. But the Canucks are not doing it for the whole. They're not trying to resign here, right?
I mean,
the point is that it's looking like a rental at the moment.
It's looking like a rental, but it's still an overpay. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think it's an overpay
because of the rental fact. Like,
true,
it's an overpay.
It depends on the players, right? So here's the thing, right? First of all, you lose $5 million of Kuzmenko's contract for next year alone, right? So that's off the books for next year, which I think Kuzmenko made a mistake of trying to do a bridge deal instead of actually trying to get a long-term deal done. The reason why Sat Shaw said this perfectly, Satyar Shaw of Sportsnet 650, and I agree with him. Yeah, fine. The pieces seem like they're a lot. The problem is you didn't give anyone major, right? Because the rumors were Höglander had to be involved in a trade like for Gensel, right?
Yeah.
Or a Podkolzin, or eventually a Willander or a Lekkerimäki. So they determined that they kept all those pieces. So if they really wanted to make a superstar move still, they have those pieces. Yeah, you gave away your salary filler in Kuzmenko, so you might have to give up a player or two from your roster. Who knows who could that be? It could be Zadorov, which is rumored. But I think they shut that down for now because it's still 5 weeks away from the trade deadline. But I don't think it's an overpay that way. I think Calgary did well enough to get something in return for a guy who could leave for nothing. Hunter Brzustewicz is leading the OHL as a defenseman. The problem with the Canucks is you have Quinn Hughes.
Leading in points.
Points in the league in general. And then the problem is you already have Quinn Hughes, and you don't know how long Brzustewicz is going to take. His like, you know how you do pros and cons out of the draft. His con was the defensive side of things. We have enough offensive guys, really, in my opinion. And then on top of that, Joni Jurmo has been like, he was a third-round pick in 2020. He's been playing in Finland, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't hear too much. Chris Faber is usually a guy, the prospect guy I listen to. He's like, he was up and down. He played well for Finland, I believe, in the World Juniors last year, if I'm not mistaken. And then the first-round pick, it's going to be a late 20s. You're banking playoffs, there's a lock. If that's the case, it should be in the 20s. And again, it's a draft, hit or miss, and then the fourth or a third-round pick, whatever that could be, right? So it's not like and then Kuzmenko is struggling, and he doesn't fit Tocchet's system, so you're getting rid of a disgruntled guy, or a coach disgruntled guy as well. So realistically, I don't think we had to give someone up. If the best piece to Kuzmenko we give was Brzustewicz, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm not saying I hate it. I'm definitely not saying I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I like the fact the Canucks going aggressive just because at the end of the day, you do have a lot of question marks when it comes to free agency, right? Everyone can say PD couldn't resign. Still don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone can say that for Hronek as well. Obviously, now you're going to have to throw Lindholm in the conversation too. I don't think the Canucks make this deal if there's...
They don't believe him.
Huh?
If they don't believe him.
No, it's not that. But if they don't... That's one, obviously. That's the main reason.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Canucks make this deal if they don't believe they have a chance at re-signing Lindholm.
We always have.
I think Alvin believes that he can re-sign Lindholm. Yeah. But the main reason not is because we have to wait and see. But this is why I don't like contract extensions right away from deadline. Look, PLD, for example.
Zadorov, again, they're saying that they were going to re-sign him immediately, and now he was benched for a period against the Blues, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. So then when you're like putting those factors in, when it comes to trades, we don't know how the guy's going to be on another team. Lindholm could be sick for Calgary.
Yeah.
Moves make people worse. Moves can make people better.
Yeah.
We're not saying Lindholm's going to suck.
Look at Patty Kane and Tarasenko.
We're not saying Lindholm's going to be great either.
Yeah.
But the thing is this. The Canucks are doing it smart, right? They didn't make the mistake the LA Kings made. So which I really like. So they're going to see where Lindholm could fit. If Lindholm and PD become a dynamic duo, they'll believe that they made this trade because they believe they can re-sign Lindholm. They just want to assess him first.
Yeah. Listen, obviously, I'm not saying you make this move because you're going to try to re-sign. You have a bunch of UFAs, right? Dakota Joshua is probably going to command a big payday for how well he has played this year. A big guy that could hit, skate, and penalty kill. That's a lot of value now. And the Canucks obviously made him into that. You have Teddy Bluger. You got Ian Cole. You have that are free agent. Sam Lafferty still a free agent. All these guys have played well for you. Casey DeSmith is a free agent if you want to run him a goalie back. So for me, I think it's more that he's rewarding the team than actually and saying like, hey, we believe in this team. We're going to give you a Selke finalist from a couple of years ago who plays well with talent, and you have talent, right? And yeah, so I think it's more of it is definitely a rental thing. Elias Lindholm is that good that like that he's worth all of that.
Would you
Even
say
for a rental?
Would you say he was the number one trade target, right? When it comes to
He
deadline?
was Athletics number one trade target.
He was Athletics number one.
From what I heard,
You know what the biggest thing about this is?
Yeah,
They finally got a right-handed center.
I didn't know he was right-handed. I didn't know about that
Because there was some of the issues saying that we can't win the face-offs on
I think
this one
Bluger
side.
is right-handed. I'm not sure, but
I'm not sure, but like Lindholm being right-handed is obviously
it's gonna help. And he's a center, right?
Yeah, and then centers, like it's clear, like PD's going on the wing, and he's gonna be the center.
Or PD, it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It
goes.
doesn't matter how
Yeah.
it goes, but like I'm assuming Lindholm will take the face-offs.
Yeah,
More than PD, which is a good little ad there. I'm not saying I like this trade because I do believe in this team in this year now, right? Like we've seen enough, evidence that this team can stay on top. Obviously, the stretch coming after the All-Star break will be tough. The Canucks do have one,
and that's perfect because
do have one
that's
of the hardest
perfect because
schedules.
now you're bringing in a guy who could get you playoff ready as well. And Rutherford always, Rutherford has connection with him. He drafted him in Carolina, and then on top of that, Rutherford does his stuff early for a reason, right? You don't want a situation where the New York Rangers last year, hurt their chemistry, which is still a concern. It could be a concern right now, but they made those trade deadline moves with Kane and Tarasenko roughly in that same week. Rangers bowed out early. Other teams have done the same thing. They've bowed out early, right? So you got to develop that chemistry. I feel like he's a fit in any team.
I do believe that he's a fit because at the end of the day, there's not many right-handed people, right? Obviously, in hockey, so
not in life. There's a lot more right-handed than left.
and like in life is a lot more right-handed.
Yeah.
I'm talking about right shot people in hockey, right?
Yeah.
And especially defensemen, but like this guy could fill in defensive role. This guy could fill in a PK role. This guy can point produce. He can do it all when he's on his game.
Yeah.
The question is, can he be on his game? And I do believe that because he's going to have talent around
He's
him.
going to be motivated.
You have Pedersen and you have a speed guy in Mikheyev, which is probably going to be your line, right? You're going to have Lindholm, PD, and Mikheyev.
And you're motivated. You're playing for a potential contender, which we'll talk about the playoffs in a sec when we bring up the other potential contenders we
And
have.
then when it comes to a trade package, I don't think the Canucks did bad, but I don't think they did great either.
I think
But
they
at the
did
end,
fine.
huh?
I think they did fine.
Yeah,
Like,
but
have
I don't think they
nothing
did
against it.
great. I don't think they did great, but I don't think they did bad. I don't think it's like, this trade's gonna ruin them or anything. But I don't think this like okay.
That's what I mean.
I don't
That's
think
why I
they.
think
I
it's
don't think they
fine.
necessarily dubbed out when it comes to like the package, the trade
Listen,
package either.
some Canucks are saying you fleeced Calgary because we don't know what Brustevich is going to be like. We don't know what Yermo is going to be like. You're essentially trading a first-round pick and Kuzmenko.
But the point is, because it's not great, because it's not bad, it feels like a fair deal then.
If Lindholm,
I'm not saying
it's a
anyone
fair
else
deal.
did. It
That's
feels
what I'm
like a fair
saying. It's a
deal,
fair
yeah.
deal. Lindholm, if he resigns, I think it's a finesse.
Well,
But
then I think it's a dub. for
and
the
if
Canucks.
Lindholm plays well in the playoffs, whether we win the cup or not, I think it's a finesse because he's that good of a player. He's a trade target number one for a reason. He was the reason why we thought he was going to go to Boston or Colorado, right? Because he would have been easily fit there. He could have been the 1C in Boston and the 2C in Colorado. He's now our 2C or 3C or 1C, however you want to put it, probably 2C.
When you look at it roster wise, it's probably 2C or 3C.
At the
It's
and
probably 3C.
that's why
But when you're looking at lineup wise, he's probably gonna be the 1C just because.
but
Why?
he, like I said, like we didn't give up our main guys and we didn't handicap the future at all, right? I think this team is way smarter than Benning's team.
Oh, 100%.
because
100%.
I think they're making it clear that we're not moving Lekaramaki unless it's like an insane player,
And then same-
which is
Same-
is that really gonna happen? Like,
and
is
then
Crosby
same-
gonna be available? No.
And then same goes for Tom Willander as well.
Especially, right? So, and then they value certain pieces and others. Like the similar thing they did it with Pittsburgh, where they brought in college free agents and all these guys. They're doing that right now with the Canucks, whether it be college or junior free agents. They're all developing and taking their time playing well. It helps that the Canucks are healthy. And they're doing well. Like Archie Baines again, all-star. You have Niels Ullmann, who's playing well up and down. Vasily Podkolzin is on the Niels Höglander train, right? Like,
and then Höglander
training
himself.
right now. And Höglander himself progressed. Right?
Höglander himself has been killing it, especially recently.
Like if this trade was given up, you're giving up Höglander, then I would be like, oh my god, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Then at the same time, I'm like, I'm fine with this trade. I have no issues with this trade. This is, if you want to make a win now move, this is a win now move. It's the perfect trade. It's a fair trade for both teams, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the best way I could put it.
Let's flip over to
let's stick with the Canucks.
Okay.
Does this make them a contender?
I feel like we should come back to it. Let's talk a little bit Calgary
Okay.
first. Just cause.
No, last thing, going into Calgary because it's a transition. Chris Tanev was also part of these deals, but obviously they didn't have more assets to give. If that was the case, obviously I would have been happy to give up Höglander or someone. But they're still saying that Chris Tanev can come back in a separate trade with the Canucks. Again, trading with a division rival 3 times in a row is hilarious to me. But
yeah, that's
Chris
crazy.
Tanev has suitors though. Like there's like more than 10 teams that want Chris Tanev. Why wouldn't you? We've seen him firsthand with the Canucks. So yeah, so Chris Tanev was talked about in this and is still being talked about. But
yeah, quick Calgary side now.
Yeah. Again,
here's the thing, Calgary, you did well enough. Like you dubbed out in the fact that you did not lose Lindholm for free, right? And obviously, that's the biggest win you could obviously have. And when that's the case, when you the biggest L is like how you lost Goudreau. The biggest L, like you still found a way to get Kachuk traded, which is good, but it's not looking like a great trade at all. And then you dubbed out with Lindholm. Right, you got a first round pick. Yes, it's gonna be a 20s pick. Hunter Buchnevich is I don't even know how to say his name.
Bruce Devish.
Bruce Devish.
You better hope this Hunter doesn't turn into Shinkarik.
Exactly. No, but like this guy, like he's shown so much promise, and
Yeah.
he's been developed well. He's a defenseman leading the league in
OHL.
in the OHL in points. Like that's crazy.
I don't know
to
if he
me.
still is, but he once upon a time was. So
Yeah, I think he still is, honestly.
Yeah.
But that's just crazy to me. And then he was left off the World Juniors US roster, but it didn't even matter because US won. But yeah, so I think this was one of the Canucks' like top end prospects, not like I would say top 5 in one of their top 5.
10 for sure.
Yeah, obviously he's not the top 2. That's for sure. We kept the top 2, which
3
is good.
because I'm putting Sheelovs there.
Yeah, I'll respect Sea-Laws. And then, yeah, I think you did well to get him. I think you did well to get a first, and I think first was guaranteed though.
Yeah, I mean that's why like I don't mind it because like you didn't give him much. Bruce Davish might be behind DPD for all we know, right? How it depends on how the Canucks value their stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Calgary side of things, like I said, that you're betting on these guys again. I don't know how much more you could have gotten from other teams. I don't know. I guess the salary retention's a big factor, obviously. So maybe that's the thing, but I don't know if I were them, I would have tried to keep the salary a little bit, even 50%, and try to get a Höglander. I would have done that if I was Calgary. But the thing is, again, you still have more things to worry about. You still have Hanifin, you still have
Tanev,
and you have. I thought there was one more, but I guess not.
No, that's it.
Those are the 3. These are the 3 players you had remaining after Zadorov. And
everything we said about the Flames has come to life. Everything has come to truth that the Flames were going to be the biggest dealer at the deadline. The only thing that we got wrong is that the Flames are not the biggest dealer at the deadline. They're the biggest dealer before the deadline because now they've dealt away to the number 1 trade target and another top 10 trade target in Zadorov, I would think. And the Calgary Flames are officially, we can say they're officially done for this season.
Yeah. There's nothing much to say. Calgary needed to do this. They got it done. Surprised again, they did it in the division. I don't know how much of that is because Craig Conroy is just like, F it. I want to just see who gives me the best offer. And I don't know if this was truly the best offer. I don't know what Boston or Colorado, who I thought would have gotten them, could have offered. The thing is, let's see. I haven't looked at the trade board yet because, again, it was 5 weeks away and this trade literally happened a couple of hours before recording. I didn't have the time to look at the big board. We have TSN on in the background, so they might show it up eventually. But, yeah, so Calgary side of things, yeah, good job. It just depends on how you develop these guys at the end of the day. You have the Vancouver, Samuel Honzik in your thing still.
Yeah.
Let's see how he's. I know he was injured.
I think
for a
Jaden
little bit.
Lipinski as well too.
I don't think they have Jay Lipinski.
They don't.
He's just a Giants player.
Oh,
I'll double check. I could be wrong. But
I thought they're both Calgary.
I know I could be wrong.
I know Hanzik is for sure.
Hanzik is for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so that ends up Calgary.
Going back to Vancouver.
Calgary season is done. Vancouver season could just get started right now with this Elias Lindholm trade. Are the Canucks contenders? That's what we're gonna ask.
No, before that, they're still not done yet. I'm gonna just say that they could. Rick Dollywell says they could still go after another defenseman, whether it be Tanev, whether it be someone else in the league who's available. It could be just a depth piece, because the one thing with the Canucks, which we're going to tie into the contender side of things, they've been fairly healthy, minus Carson Soucy. I know P. Suter was injured in the beginning of the year, but Carson Soucy aside, every coach has come on the podium and said Rick Tocchet has done an amazing job with this team. This team is so hard to play against. You never usually hear about the Canucks. And a lot of that is because of how good, obviously, Thatcher Demko and Casey Smith have been, but defensively, they've been hard to play against, right? And Quentin Hughes, leader of that. Philip Hronek, Ian Cole, I think we're our top three. Tyler Myers, as people might hate him from the past few years, but this year for the role he's playing, he's been well, minus a couple of games, which I think was that Nashville game at the beginning of the year.
So it helps when
everybody's playing.
Everyone's playing their role.
Yeah.
Right. We're not like Tyler Myers was our freaking second defenseman. Right. That can't happen. And it helps that he is a third pair D man. Hronek has been doing well with Hughes as well.
You're right. Calgary Flames unsigned though. He wasn't drafted.
Oh, okay. So,
or he's unsigned with Calgary. He probably was drafted, but
yeah. So, does this make the Canucks contenders?
So here's my thing, right? I'm gonna say this before you answer that question. Last year, it was a lock that Vegas was a contender out of the West. East, you had options, right? The year before that, it was easily Colorado and probably Tampa Bay. The year before that, it was Tampa Bay for sure. The last couple of years. And then the West, again, it was between Colorado or Vegas.
COVID year too,
Montreal, it was like Colorado or Vegas in general. I'm just saying as a whole. I'm not looking at the finalists. This year, from both sides, there's no distinct guy. I feel like if healthy, Vegas is the team. If healthy,
they are.
But if it's current health, it's wide open on both conferences. Because speaking of the Oilers, they're on a 16-game win streak right now, 15, 16-game win streak.
I think it's Oilers.
Still?
They were expected to be here. They've definitely took a different path, a different road that we expected, but they are who we thought they are. The Oilers are a cup contender this year. They had good offseason moves. The main key reason is Ekholm is healthy and he's playing well, and because of that, it kind of elevated their game. Then obviously McDavid and I'm talking about the unsung
I'm talking about the beginning of the year. McDavid
I'm talking about their unsung hero. The guy that's going to help them propel.
Yeah.
You already know McDavid and Drysdale are going to do that.
Oh, 100%.
Ekholm and freaking Stuart Skinner, right? Those guys needed to play good, and they're playing good. And Zach Hyman's having an incredible year himself. The Oilers as a whole are going to be a tough team to beat, and I do believe at the moment they are the best team next to the Vancouver Canucks, though. Because the Canucks, they haven't let off, right? We haven't seen the Oilers. We've seen a bad stretch for the Oilers. We haven't seen a bad stretch for the Canucks. At max, it was 2 games.
The thing with the Oilers is, okay, why are my score updates coming? That's why I was so confused. It's like Canucks trade for Lindholm. That's why. No, Oilers right now, they're 4 games in hand on the Canucks. They would be, if they win all 4, which they haven't given any reason not to, they would be 4 points behind us only.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the Canucks need to win this division, because if they don't, they got to play Vegas or Edmonton in the first round. I would say so, right?
They have to win this division.
Yeah. And then because on the other side, they are 4 points clear on Colorado, but again, that could be close. Canucks obviously have a tougher schedule coming. Because right now, I would rather play the Blues, Predators, Kraken, or Kings.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
In the moment.
100%.
Right? So,
and at the end of the day, we're not saying any of those guys are slouches. They're still solid teams.
Yeah.
But compared to a Vegas and Edmonton, you'd rather have Vegas and Edmonton versus each other in the first round than you have to go through potentially both of them in a Stanley Cup final run. If you win the division, I believe you can make a deep run. I do believe that. But you have to win a division.
Yeah, so as of right now, I agree with you for sure. As much as family might hate us for saying this, Canucks, they're probably the best team in the NHL right now. But I think if you're going to project a little bit based on recent form and everything, Oilers probably take it away. the question for Oilers is are they going to sustain their defense and goaltending in the playoffs? We will see. Chris Knoblauch has done a great job. He should be in Coach of the Year considerations himself. Unfortunately, you have John Tortorella and Rick Bowness and Rick Tocchet ahead of you, though. Yeah. Are they? For you, they're not the favorite, but are they are they a cup contender?
I could consider them a cup contender. It's very clear what direction this team wants to go in this trade. It's very clear what that man on the TV wants, and he wants to reward this team because they have been playing incredible.
And they've been doing that, which is fair to them. Speaking of the guy on TV who was Patrick Allvin, started the day off actually. He extended his contract by multi-years. I think it was 3 years, matching the same as Rutherford. And I haven't listened to the press conference yet because been busy at work. But from what the clips and the quotes I saw, he gives a whole lot of credit to Tocchet, who has 1 more year left on his contract, who's probably going to get a fat extension himself. So yeah, let's see. But this team has done the same thing with this, group. By group, I mean Rutherford mainly. Did this with Carolina, where they added pieces. They ended up winning the cup. They weren't supposed to be a favorite anyways that year. By the way, fun fact, did you know that, you want to guess what team Carolina beat to get to the final? In the Eastern Conference final? Against the Oilers?
Ottawa?
Toronto.
Or is
So
it
it could have been a Toronto-Ottawa final then.
It could have been
I'm pretty sure they
Edmonton.
played them. Toronto-Edmonton final then, right? So, but no, going back to this, credit, well-deserved extension, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
He's still going to probably make more moves. Let's see. But it's still the beginning because, again, we don't know what's going to happen next year. The goal is to win the cup this year. If we do, then I could care 2 shits what you do in the summer.
Bro, honestly, I did the same thing with the Raptors. They won, and I haven't really cared what they do ever since.
But you still want
obviously, I still support them. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, I don't take anything to heart now, like how I do with the Canucks or how I do with the Colts, because I haven't witnessed those guys win. Jays as well.
Which we'll talk about later. But overall, trade, I would say 50-50. Time will tell. For last thing, though, we have to mention Andrei Kuzmenko. He's going to go play free now. Power play opportunities rise again. Let's see. Obviously, a massive fan favorite. Unfortunately, huge sophomore slump out of his rookie year, even though he wasn't considered a rookie. But yeah, so I wish the well for him. Unfortunately, you're a Calgary Flame. That's the part that sucks.
Yeah.
But outside of that, just as a player, I think he'll be fine. If he plays free, he'll be fine. We'll see.
Yeah.
Who does he play with there now, though? Huberdeau and Kadri?
Kadri's been decent. Huberdeau's been pretty ass.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Anyways, let's just continue on with the NHL talk. That's enough for the trade. Comment your guys' reaction down below for that. But let's just talk about... We're at the NHL All-Star break. By the way, another fun fact. 2 years in a row, the Canucks were involved in a trade during the All-Star break. Last year, it was them trading away Horvat, who had to wear an Islanders jersey for Team Pacific.
Yeah.
Or Islanders badge, or whatever, the crest. Obviously, this year's a draft. So let's see if Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson and Michael Bublé draft Elias Lindholm. And will he wear a Canucks badge, which he probably should.
He will wear a Canucks badge.
So
I just don't know if he's going to be drafted by them because they have 4 other people to draft.
Yeah.
As well.
So
or 3 other people because
Petey and Hughes are together.
Yeah, Petey and Hughes are together now. But yeah, All-Star festivities start. Draft is today as well for the All-Star. I'm assuming the Canucks go like the Petey and Hughes draft Demko, Besser, and Miller. But at the same time, I don't want to see that just because I want to see them go up against each other as well.
Yeah, see, I'm not that guy that wants to be teamed up.
Yeah.
I want to see a lot. That's why I wasn't a fan of the whole assistant captains for being the same team. The Hughes brothers, I don't mind because that's a whole different story. But obviously, Jack Hughes got well soon. He's still injured. But let's just talk about, do you have any certain stories you want to talk about the NHL? Or I know the trade kind of blanked us.
The trade legit took over everything.
I do want to talk about Florida.
Yeah, Florida, man. I don't know what to say about Florida. Last year was Kachuk. This year is Reinhart. Who will it be next year? Because I have no idea.
Reinhart might be gone next year.
Like there's always someone, right? Yes, last year they were a worse team in the regular season than they are right now. But they've been incredible. They're proving that last year's run is not a fluke in the
because last year they barely made it.
Because they did barely
make it.
Both
the Florida teams. Honestly, Miami was similar. I thought Miami wasn't going to do much.
Yeah.
Now, okay, Miami, to be fair, is struggling now, which we'll talk about later on, probably next week with the NBA. But
Florida, they've been incredible.
They started out slow, too.
Yeah, because that was obvious, right? You have Ekblad and Montour out, your 2 top defensemen. And they got back healthy. Reinhardt's been playing incredible. Kachuk is still decent. He's been Kachuk, right? Sergei Bobrovsky has been secretly have a good year as well. Like he hasn't really fallen off compared to years past, right? Like his stats this year, like he has a 910 save percentage and a 251 goals against average. He's an all-star himself.
Yeah.
So like we're witnessing a proper Bobrovsky as well, which is also key. I don't know how much OEL has to do with this, but
well, you know who would fit there well too? Chris Tanev.
Tanev could fit anywhere.
Anywhere, but I'm just saying like that he will put that team over the top. I realistically think they're a better team than the Bruins. Am I wrong to say that? I know it's like how we're saying the Ottawa Oilers are better than the Canucks probably come playoff time. If they were to be in a matchup, I would take the Panthers over Bruins still.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Kachuk's numbers have been pretty solid, 51 points in 49 games. Obviously,
again,
not compared to last year.
We're not. This is obviously stat watching right now. We got to do the eye test a little bit more, but
yeah, no, he's been obviously Kachuk's been having a big impact. There's no doubt about that. He has 35 assists, right? He's been setting up Reinhardt if anything. But yeah, no, this Florida Panthers team definitely surprised us. I won't say like they're shocking us, right? But they've definitely caught a ride just because they're proving that they're a legit team.
Yeah. On the flip side, sticking with the Florida team, Tampa is on a heater recently too. They were like, obviously when Vasilevsky came back, we thought they were going to be better. They kind of hit the skids. They were out of a playoff spot for a while. Then I think they won like their last like 7 out of 8 or something like that.
They're 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah. Right. So they've found their
stride.
That's a great
run. Yeah, they found their stride.
And there's a guy who might be gone for their team. Steven Stamkos doesn't have a contract next year. Imagine next year, Steven Stamkos is not a Tampa Bay Lightning.
That's great. I can't imagine that.
And people are saying that he could be traded under the deadline, which I doubt. But
I don't think he's gonna trade at the deadline just because.
But they're saying the consideration is there.
Yeah, and like obviously there was a little bit of frustration coming out in the offseason saying that like
he didn't get the contract.
Yeah, so you could see it in that sense, but at the end of the day, when you're just looking like Steven Stamkos, you cannot imagine him anything other than a Bolt, right? Yeah. You cannot
100%.
Like if you don't see the Bolt crest on Stamkos jersey, you're like, this is an alternate.
Because this is not like John Tavares leaving early. This is like, even though Steven Stamkos was kind of a similar situation, he chose to stay. It's like Crosby leaving. Like I can't. Yeah, Crosby potentially could leave in 2 years, but it's so tough to see.
Like the Tavares one, I could witness, right? Because at the end of the day,
again, we've seen it for a while now.
Not that, but like the Islanders compared to the Lightning level.
And then Islanders went on a heater after he left.
Yeah, exactly. The Islanders got better when Tavares left. Lightning, they've always been in the conversation. They've been to multiple cup finals where they haven't won. They've been to multiple ones where they have won with Stamkos on the squad as well. So honestly, Stamkos compared to Tavares, I cannot see the Stamkos one, whereas Tavares one, I could have imagined.
Last thing with the East, Philadelphia is on a 5-game losing streak right now, which is still weird to say because they're 25-19-6. That 5-game losing streak, that would have put them on 25-14-6 before that. So that's pretty crazy to say, but they're on a 5-game losing streak. Like I said, I think we said it last time, they're going to fall out and probably Devils will probably get in or Pittsburgh will get in. But we'll see. I think the biggest question mark of the offseason is going to be during the season is Pittsburgh. Let's see what happens, what they do. But let's switch over to the West. A team that's just quietly doing their thing, not getting mentioned much, is the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, they've just been there.
They're
just like everything we expected, right? The Dallas Stars. Well, I had them as a division winner. I think you had them as second or something.
I had them as I don't know if I had them Stanley Cup finalist.
But like,
I don't know if I had them division.
No,
winner.
like they've like legit. Like I never heard much talk about Stars.
Yeah,
and they've just been incredible themselves, right? They're obviously them, Jets, and the Avalanche are the big three in that division. They're all like legit 1 point within each other.
Yeah,
65, 66, and 67.
And they're locks. It's just fighting for that top spot.
Yeah, so that race for the Central Division 1 seed is gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
and that whoever that 2-3 matchup is at the beginning as well is gonna be a crazy one to watch in the playoffs as well. If you think about that, like last year's and where we saw the Metropolitan where you had like Devils and Rangers, like yo, that's nuts, right?
Yeah,
this whoever is the 2-3 playing each other in the first round, that's gonna be my definition of the Devils and Rangers.
Before their loss, the St. Louis Blues, they lost yesterday 1-0 to the Blue Jackets out of all teams, but we're on a 5-game win streak. 3 of those wins were actually in overtime, starting off with the Canucks, Kraken, and then the Kings. But they're a team that are emerging right now with the coaching change again. Are they going to do what they did in 2019? I don't think so.
They weren't even that bad in 2019 either.
But
like compared to 2019, 2019 they were dreadful.
Yeah, so like they are there, but they're still fighting for that wild card spot. Again, I think the three teams in the divisions should be locked up, and they're just fighting for positioning with their own division. But yeah, it's just, we talked a little bit last time. We're not gonna go standings watch much, but overall, let's see how the second half of the NHL season goes. Before we continue with the serious news, let's talk about the PWHL a little bit. It's obviously they have a showcase on Thursday, 23 or 24 woman 20-minute game showcase or whatever. Marie-Philippe Poulin was on the radio this morning on Halford and Brough explaining it. It seems like I'm probably gonna message Alex Adams and hopefully he could come on and talk about it a little bit, because from what I'm seeing, it's one thing I love about this, that is it's better than what the MLS, CPL, and all these guys do. Their games are on YouTube. So if you do miss a game, there's no excuse for you to say, like, I can't go on YouTube to watch a game or to skim through the game.
That's the best part, right? Like, that's the best thing you could do, right? When
exposure.
Exposure is the biggest thing when it comes to anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the more exposure you have is better.
Even if you're losing money at this point for a new league, first putting women on showcasing the woman, that's the best thing you could do, because like we're Canadian trying to watch the CPL and we can't. Exactly. And now they have issues with one soccer all of a sudden.
Yeah, and then when you have the PWHL, they're competing with NHL, right? So the more exposure, the more spots where you could have your games available, it's going to be better for you. And that's one thing Jasmine said herself when she was on.
Yeah.
Right? That's the biggest way
and
the sport can grow.
The thing with this is
these leagues can grow, I mean.
The games are competitive. There's obviously 6 teams. Hopefully they could get the money to expand to Vancouver even. Because right now they're obviously more on the east. I think the most western team is Minnesota.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's Boston, Minnesota, New York, Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal. So I think it's 6 teams.
Yeah, so
obviously the games are much tighter. They're closer. They're physical as well. The stadiums have been selling out, or arenas have been selling out. But you also got to remember, with the arena thing, it's obviously the hype at the moment. Can they sustain it? And I think the product, I've just watched a couple games here and there. I'm trying to watch as much as I can, because one thing Jeff Merrick said is even though he's a Sportsnet guy, they're displaying it all around. Like, it's in TSN and Sportsnet, so it's everywhere, and then it's on YouTube afterwards, from what I know. So obviously we'll try our best to tune in a little bit, but from what I've seen, in the women's hockey, like, watching Marie-Philippe Poulin is like probably, she's one of my favorite players to watch in general. Well, how fast and good she is.
Captain clutch.
For a reason.
Like, when watching Canada, you're like, Poulin's on the ice, we have something to do. Like, it's like an expectation that Poulin's going to do something in the final minute.
It's not even just her. Like, on the American side of things, you have Hillary Knight. You got this girl, Taylor Heisey, who was the first overall pick for Minnesota, who's from Minnesota. Now, slowly, I'm learning some Finnish players, Swedish players that are kind of coming up. Obviously, it's still Canada, USA. They're the queens of the international scene is between one of those two. But from what I'm seeing from bar down side of things, and I'm trying to knowledge myself up. And listen, everyone has their opinion about women's sports. We've said Jasmine to straight to her face that the World Cup was kind of boring. It didn't help the results. It didn't work the case. But I do tune in. I love watching certain, like, the WNBA at certain times, but college basketball was insane. And women's hockey, for whatever you guys want to say, is fun to watch. Sometimes, even more than the men, especially when it's Canada versus USA.
Oh yeah, Canada versus USA. So, nothing tops Canada versus USA.
Yeah. So, but that's my thoughts on it right now. We're not going to go too much into it just because of we haven't watched too much, but we'll try to get someone on to help us learn a little bit more about the PWHL. But we got to switch gears. We got to go serious once again. We talked about this last week. We have an update for the World Junior team, Canadian team. Those 5 players that I said that have taken absences, which were, let me just pull up the exact details because there's a lot of details I have saved. So Alex Formanton already he surrendered himself, but he did say he's pleading non-guilty. So which means still allegedly sexually assaulting a woman.
And then the other 4 players
the other 4 players that we mentioned last time, Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Kyle Foote, and
Michael McLeod.
All have been accused. They've been I don't know if it's arrested, but they have been accused But all their lawyers have said they were gonna fight for their innocence, so they're pleading not guilty, which means allegedly still, because we can't say for sure that they have sexually assaulted this woman. Again, I tend to favor the girl side of things here because one, literally she said 8 people, right?
Yeah.
She could be doing the biggest finesse in the world, and if that's the case, she should deserve life in prison for that matter.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, this is my take on it. Before I open up more details right now, these guys should not be on an NHL team anymore. Unfortunately, I understand they're not proven guilty, and it's innocent until you're proven guilty. I get it, but the PR hit in general is going to be massive.
Yeah, so like the thing with this is, right, the situation, I don't think they are going to be anyways, right? Like it just that one of those things where you just have to wait and see, right? You just have to wait and see because we don't know everything until the trial happens, right?
So
we don't know any of this stuff.
So speaking of the trial, these are some updates. This is from Eric Macramala on Twitter. Do not expect Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, Dylan Dubé, and Cal Foote to return to the NHL after being charged. The NHL is likely to place them on paid leave pending the disposition of the case. Depending on how the case resolves, the NHL could then discipline the players. The problem with the trial, this is our good friend Greg Oshinsky, but per Rick Westhead, who shout out to Rick Westhead, this guy, I don't know how he does it. Every serious matter, it's him involved, whether it be super serious like this, obviously the Kyle Beach situation, or even like the women's fighting rights, or Canada soccer fighting,
and like
rights.
Personal stories, right, and journeys of players as well.
One quote that Greg posted on Twitter per Rick Westhead was, because of the backlog in Ontario's court system, it is unlikely that this case will actually get to trial before 2026.
And so that's
the shitty thing about I don't know if it's just this country, but in general,
that's gonna be a long time. That's a long delay, for sure, in between. So this is gonna be a long time to assess, like if they're guilty or not guilty. So it's alleged until proven guilty or non-guilty.
And everybody has their own opinion. They could say what they want. No one really watches us fully, so I don't know.
But we're just at the end of the day,
we're just covering our ass by saying allegedly.
It's not even that. We're just giving you the news.
Yeah.
Right? We're just telling you what's happening.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's sometimes there's difficult to find stuff, and we just that's our role, right? Like
we're gonna inform you as much as we can.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
So hopefully justice is rightfully served, whether that be for the girl in this case, or hopefully if it happens to be that the guys are innocent and the girl, they get justice, and then the girl gets in punishment some way or another. But either way, we just hope this gets resolved as soon as possible. It shouldn't take this long, but unfortunately it is. It's just how our court system or justice system is. I don't know much. I'm not getting into the politics and all that here, but hopefully everything comes up, and we'll keep you guys updated as soon as we go. Let's get into the other sports now. Which one do you want to go with? We have big topics everywhere, really.
NFL, we'll start off with the hires. Number one hire of the day
is the main one.
Mike McDonald, right? Is Mike McDonald?
Yeah.
Okay. Mike McDonald, Ravens defensive coordinator, is now the Seahawks head coach.
Oh, sorry. I need to cut you off. I forgot one more thing about that case. This is per Emily Kaplan of ESPN. Each of these players has taken a leave of absence from their respective teams, which has been paid. If or when police announce charges, their statuses could change, likely contract termination or suspension. That's it.
Okay.
Just expanding on what I said before.
Back to the NFL, we have a coaching hire, Mike McDonald, Seahawks head coach. Makes sense for the Seahawks because their defense obviously hasn't been living up to it, I would say, because personnel-wise, I think they do have a decent defense.
Yeah.
But performance-wise, it hasn't been great. And then you look at the Ravens' defense, absolutely incredible. Apart from
this year,
apart from the first half against the Chiefs, absolutely incredible.
So he's 36 years old. I think he's younger than Steichen now, which makes him probably the youngest coach in the NFL. If I'm not 100% sure though about that. But obviously this comes after Ben Johnson says he's going back to Detroit, which we'll talk about in a second here. So, for me, I thought their best option was either Vrabel, but they went younger. They probably want to go long-term a little bit. And why not bring the guy who had one of the best defenses in the NFL? question with this is good. I think he's from Georgia as well. I think he came with Munkin. I'm not 100% sure. I could be wrong, but he was with University of Georgia at one point in his career. Let's see what he does here. The question, 36-year-old, is he gonna able to command a locker room like Steichen did, like Sean McVay did, Kyle Shanahan did? We'll see. My big question mark for them is who is he gonna hire for OC? Because they lost Shane Waldron, and even Seahawks fans weren't big fans, or they were underwhelmed by Shane Waldron. I'll just say that much. And let's see who he's gonna bring. Is it gonna be someone from that staff? Obviously, they're good in the regular season. Let's see what they do in the playoffs. But yeah, congrats, Mike McDonald.
This has
the opportunity.
This has D'Amico Ryans written all over it.
Yeah.
Right. Just there's a blueprint already set for you.
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryans set that. All you gotta do is just follow that. And
you have a stud corner.
You can do work with that, because Seattle, at the end of the day, Seattle do have good pieces, young pieces and old pieces.
The question is at QB.
QB is still a question mark, and other than that, right? Like realistically, they're still a solid team.
Yeah. So the only spot available right now is Washington, and they have choices to make because obviously, like I mentioned, Ben Johnson elected to go back. He reportedly asked for a shit ton of money, like for a first-time head coach. I think it was like $15 million or something like that. So obviously teams are not going to pay him that much. It's a risk. So he's staying with the Lions for another year. We were obviously talking about the Lions last time. Now I agree with you for sure. They should be back in the playoffs with a division title again. Outside of that, another guy they were looking after was Bobby Slowick. Houston gave him a massive raise for him to stay in the Texan, and the QB coach is continuing of the work they did with CJ Stroud and that offense. Once again, gonna be probably, and they have like the third most cap space in the league, so that team's gonna be scary in general. So those two guys are returning back to their respective organization, which leaves Washington. Who's it gonna be? If they want a culture change, I say go get Mike Vrabel. I feel like Belichick's gonna be the Cowboys coach next year because I don't think McCarthy's coming back. So
yeah, I think Mike Vrabel is your best option here.
It could still be Belichick.
It was Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson was the best option.
Yeah, because I think
because of your quarterback development wise.
Because you have the second pick
and you have the second pick.
I think they were
like the thing is Ben Johnson would have helped like how Shane Steichen.
I think they're going
like
offensive.
How Shane Steichen helped. Yeah, Anthony Richardson to a certain extent for this year, but yeah, that guy's not available, so Mike Vrabel is your best option.
But if they go defensive, learn from D'Amico and see how he figured stuff out. The last hire is the Steelers got their OC. Arthur Smith is going there. Now, there's two sides of the coin here. One is obviously the work he did in Tennessee was great. That led him to the Atlanta job. But I saw a stat. I actually did not save this. He signed a 3-year contract. Is that for the last couple of years, his passing offense has only been is like 23rd in the league or something. What does Pittsburgh struggle with right now?
Passing offense.
Right? So
I mean, if you're looking at identity wise, it matches.
But the problem
Pittsburgh is at the end of the day, they're a run
exactly.
team.
But again,
right? And
cannot be Derrick Henry.
The thing is this, right? Arthur Smith got his job with the work he did with Derrick Henry and the work he did with Ryan Tannehill and the chemistry he helped those two develop to play off each other really well. Tannehill can move himself. Kenny Pickett can move, right? Najee Harris at the end of the day is still a good running back. Jalen Warren stepped up this year, big time. So you do have the pieces of an Arthur Smith run offense. Now the thing is this: are you gonna get your playmakers the ball, or are you gonna get freaking disguise it for like Jonnu Smith or your backup players, like how you did
Tennessee
in Atlanta?
Oh,
Atlanta. No, Tennessee was incredible.
I said Jonnu. That's what I was thinking. But no, yeah, like Tennessee was obviously.
John was in Atlanta.
I forgot he went to Atlanta. Yeah. Thing with Tennessee though, let's see, because with Tennessee he went through Derrick Henry, right? Is he gonna do that again? Is that the formula to win a Super Bowl? I don't think so, because it did not work at Tennessee.
But at the same time, they don't have a quarterback.
See, that's the thing,
right? Like,
can he help develop Pickett?
Though? He's never worked with a quarterback.
Yeah, and he's the play caller here, so it's not like
that's great. But like Tannehill at the end of the day is not that guy.
Yeah,
clearly Desmond Ridder's not that guy, and we've clearly seen Kenny Pickett might not be the guy either. So realistically, he has
again. He's
he had
gonna have to
nothing to
rely on
work
that.
with.
He has to rely on Najee again,
Yeah,
or Warren.
Like he has no other choice at the end of the day.
We'll see how it goes. It could be the same old in Pittsburgh. Can he actually fix something up?
Oh, I definitely think he's better than Matt Canada.
For sure. Anyone was better than Matt Canada. But okay, that's it for the NFL hires. Let's go into baseball. One free agent has signed, and it happened to be with the Toronto Blue Jays. Justin Turner, 39-year-old, signed a 1-year, $13 million deal with an additional $1.5 million in roster bonuses and performance bonuses, according to John Morosi. And it's official. He's projected to bat fourth at the moment based on this projected Blue Jays batting order. But I have issues still. So I don't know. I'm seeing reports that while you could look if anyone else signed or traded quickly. My issue with okay, listen. I don't know if you agree with this. I think the Blue Jays are probably one or the biggest losers of the offseason now. It was the Seattle Mariners.
I mean, I don't have to agree with you.
Okay. I'm
saying that myself.
Okay, so it was the Seattle Mariners until they made moves themselves. But yeah, like you went after Ohtani, great. The question was after Ohtani was, what was your backup plan? We thought it was Bellinger. He still hasn't signed yet. This signing shows me that you ain't gonna sign Bellinger at all. Jorge Soler, I think there's question marks on where he wants to go. Apparently, they went hard after Jock Peterson. Jock chose Arizona over him. You can't control that. We get that. But how could you not bring JD Martinez in? How do you not bring in Jorge Soler? You can't tell me this is it. You can't tell me Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Justin Turner, who had a great year last year. Don't get me wrong.
He was incredible. Justin Turner
He's
was
probably a Brandon Belt replacement at this point.
We're happy with the signing. We're not saying we are happy with.
Yeah, I'm happy with the signing, but not just him.
Yeah, no, we are happy with what Justin Turner is going to bring to this team.
Hopefully,
but at the end of the day, it's not enough. Yeah, and the thing is this: if you're able to freaking budget out $500 million, around $50 to $60 million per year for Shohei Ohtani, and all you could spend was what, $3 million, $4 million on Kiner-Falefa, and a $15 million
potential $15 million, yeah.
You're definitely,
and whatever you spend on Cabrera.
You're definitely what do you call it? Underpaying, or what's it called? Lowballing in your negotiations with Soler and whoever else you're interested in.
Yeah, like how do you not bring in JD Martinez after the year he had in the Dodgers?
Yeah, he was solid too.
So your biggest issue last year was hitting. I get it. The pitching might not be as elite as it was. I hope not that's the case, because the way, have you seen Alek Manoah's looking right now? Hopefully that in shape he is, right?
He's killing it.
He's actually like skinny as hell.
Yeah,
but the thing is, let's see if that helps. Let's see if that actually helps.
Vladdy's also in the gym.
Vladdy, we've seen him do it once before. Hopefully it's again. Like if you're banking on Vladdy just to be a superstar
and
again,
you're banking on Manoah to
bounce back, and you're banking on Springer to maybe not have a year he did last year. Your job as the GM / president, whatever Shapiro and Atkins are respectively in their roles, is to make the team better than it was last year. The year before, we could have said, yes, you made the team better in a certain extent. Right, the defense was way better.
The pitching,
offense was there. We expected the offense to be there, but you made went out and got Chris Bassett. You went out and got traded for Dalton Varsho.
You got Kiermaier.
We were expecting you to make a trade this year, but you haven't done that yet. It could still happen, but we're February 1st today, right? As soon as this pod comes out, it'll be February 1st. Spring training is going to start in about a month. Players are going to start reporting in about a couple of weeks. So for me, the Blue Jays are the biggest loser because you're out of the Chapman race at this point. Justin Turner's because at this point I would have brought back Chapman some way, somehow, because at least your defense would have been elite.
That's true.
Justin Turner is not going to make your defense elite.
Here's the thing, bro. And it's just fair, like these AAA guys do deserve their opportunities because they have been playing well.
For sure.
But that cannot be your primary source.
Because
that can't be the only thing you rely on to make your team better. Because at the end of the day, it's the first time playing in the leagues, right? Like Vladdy took forever, right? Bichette also took some time. Biggio, I don't know how long. It still hasn't been what we want him to be. Nate Pearson is the biggest example. He can't even get into a major league roster right now.
I don't get it. You guys need to go find a trade. I don't know who's out there available. I know Blake Murphy on the pod said when he came on with us, Christian Yelich was the guy. Could be potentially available. I threw out Neil and Ronaldo, but I don't think the Cardinals' moves will depict that now anymore.
There's no chance of that happening.
yeah, I really don't understand what you're doing. Are you? Yeah, you could be right in saying last year was a fluke. I'm hoping it was a fluke. If it was a fluke, great.
You could say that.
Great asset management by you guys.
You can say that, but you can't convince anyone.
Yes.
Right?
You're gonna.
That's not convincing at all.
You're gonna lose the fan base completely. This team has another couple of years before they're probably gonna go on another rebuild if that's the case. You know, you were not even just in on Otani, you were in on Soto, reportedly as well. And yeah, unless you're gonna go wait for him next year, you can't throw away Vladdy and Bo's years potentially in their prime. Obviously, Vladdy struggled last year. I'm hoping he does better. But no, it makes no sense to me. You're the biggest offseason loser to me right now. This is probably complete bias as well because we don't know what other teams have done. But if you're trying to be a contender and you have not won a single playoff game with this core yet, you are the loser because you did not make significant moves that made you better. Period. Simple as that.
Yeah, there's nothing else to add really there as well. We're just too pissed off and sentimental Jays fans and are thriving for some sort of dopamine rush that the Jays provide.
I really hope this is a jinx that like next time we come on the pod and we're talking about something major they have
just
done.
talk shit about them so like they actually finally do something good.
Half the social media on Twitter and everyone
they're already doing our job for us.
Yeah. They already are. But
we like at the end of the day, it's repetitive, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not looking forward to what they're gonna say.
I'm not looking forward to the season.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it at all.
And then we're gonna start off
maybe that's a good thing though.
We're gonna start off on a 9-game road trip anyways to do stadium renovations as well.
But speaking of a team that's actually doing something and they're actually on the come up.
I mean, they haven't really done much either.
But they're on the come up.
But
they don't need to.
They don't need to. Exactly.
I mean, I still think they should go get some veteran pieces.
Oh, yeah, but like at the end of the day, this is not the year to do it.
But this might
There's no one available.
But this the reason why they probably didn't is because of what I'm gonna say. The Baltimore Orioles, Baltimore Orioles John Angelos has agreed to sell the franchise to a group led by private equity partner David Rubenstein for a value of, get this, Baltimore, by the way, is worth $1.725 billion US.
Yeah.
The value of franchises have gone insane. NHLs are still low for some reason. I didn't expect Baltimore to be this high.
Orioles, right?
Yeah, so here's the thing with this. You sold the team. This owner could be David Tepper and go crazy and go spend like Steve Cohen or whatever and could ruin it that way. But if you're going about money and spending and you already have Ali Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, you got Jackson Holiday waiting down there, you got some decent pitching as well, and I'm sure I'm missing some other pieces out there. Ryan Mountcastle. As well. And there's another name, I forget who it is. That division is going to be led by the Orioles. If this ownership group is smart, they get the smart people to run it, baseball operations, and they go get the pieces they need. If this team gets Blake Snell, oh my God, this team's going to be scary.
Right, batting wise, we're still happy. Like obviously, at the end of the day, you could always add someone, but there's no one you could add in this free agency.
Yeah,
and there's no point of wasting money on that.
Yeah,
bullpen, with the healthy Felix Bautista,
who is out for the year,
unfortunately. With him, your bullpen set. The only question mark for this team is starting pitching.
Yeah.
And honestly, in my opinion, they performed better than what they expected. And that's crazy to me because, like, Kyle Gibson, D. Kramer, these guys did better than who they actually, what they were expected to be.
But yeah, so that's the baseball side of things. We'll just leave it there. Nothing you saw?
Nothing I saw.
Okay. Soccer, and you wanna end on soccer or do you wanna end on NBA?
One on NBA.
Soccer. Transfer deadline. Kind of been a bust. Nothing really crazy happened. I think Gio Reyna signed his extension and then got loaned to Nottingham Forest. That's like a big one. A couple of random signings. Nothing much crazy happened. I think it's done now, right? By the time
it's done. Yeah, it's done. Deadline has passed.
So yeah, nothing. It was kind of I don't know how much of it's because AFCON was on as well.
And the Asian Cup as well.
And the Asian Cup. But yeah, I think nothing crazy went down. That's about it. I don't see.
But one thing crazy went down.
No, but before we talk about that, speaking of crazy, by the way, we haven't. Did you watch AFCON or any?
I didn't watch AFCON. No, I didn't watch it.
Well, speaking of craziness, apparently upset after upset after upset after.
Okay, I saw that part. I saw that part.
And like I've seen people tweeting like, "This is my first year watching AFCON, and it's probably better than the Euros or the Copa, or etc. etc."
Is the AFCON even on TV for us? Like,
I mean,
where can we even
have
watch
IPT,
AFCON?
We have IPTs.
You
We can
just
make it
gotta
work.
find it, right?
But or you could just search it up. I know we're not promoting illegal streams here, but
Yeah.
you know, like I think like Mozambique will beat someone. South Africa just beat Morocco, who probably was gonna be the favorite. Egypt's out. Ghana I think is out. Cameroon's out, which means we got
Senegal's out.
Which means we got
I think
Onana back. But yeah.
Senegal's a defending champion.
I think
right?
Nigeria is the only team
Senegal's a
that's
defending
remaining.
champ, right?
Yeah, they beat Egypt. Egypt's out.
And Senegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Nigeria is like the only good
so
team.
Sadio
remaining.
Mane and Mohamed Salah.
Mohamed Salah left early because he was injured.
Yeah, no, but the two probably of the best African players at the moment, or
Ivory Coast is still
or out.
in. Ivory Coast is still in. Mali is in. If you want to consider the U17 World Cup that
bro, Mali U17 could win this AFCON.
like
bro.
Congo, Dominican Republic of Congo beat Egypt. Nigeria beat Cameroon. Like Morocco's out. So it's crazy. Like Algeria finished last in their group apparently.
Riyad Mahrez is done.
Yeah, which is I don't even know if he's there, but yeah. But yeah, AFCON has been crazy. The Asian Cup, India can't not find a single good soccer player since Sunil Chhetri, and they have like 2 billion people or whatever they have, 1.2 billion. But speaking of crazy, Joven, the rumor that you were going to bring up.
Jose Mourinho, earlier, who has been fired or sacked, whatever you want to use the term, from AS Roma, has unfinished business with Man United, according to himself.
Well, according to Mike Keegan, not himself.
Mike Keegan.
Yeah. So the tweet I sent you earlier, let me try to find it. So yeah, like I saw this on the United Stand Instagram page through Mike Keegan. By the way, please rejoin Granada on loan.
Okay, yeah, please.
Breaking: Mourinho wants United job. I think he rejected Qatar or Saudi recently. But yeah, sources close to Mourinho says he's made a mission to return to United should the opportunity arise. Jose Mourinho's eyeing a return. Jose thinks he has unfinished business, as you mentioned. As a United fan, no. Again, we've seen his resume. Great manager, probably top, 3 all time, or at least in the Premier League. The thing is, like, he didn't work once with United. I don't think he's the manager for this young team. You've tried it recently. You're clearly gonna fire the manager more than the players at Man United. I get it, sir. It's a new set of eyes. I think Ratcliffe is literally the guy. I think the Glazers are not even gonna be involved, which in a way is good. But like, no, like I'm not for it. I'm not saying he's not a serious manager. He's a good manager. I have never been a fan of Mourinho. That's just me. The play style, the antics. But outside of that, I don't think this is what Man United need. That's just me.
The thing is this. It's PTSD.
That too.
It's PTSD as United fans. Mourinho is, at the end of the day, as well as he did in Ten Hag's first year, I think Ten Hag had a better year than any of the years Mourinho did. And Mourinho did really well. So I do believe that at the end of the day, Ten Hag is the manager to get the best out of these players. He's just not doing it this year.
You know who Ten Hag is?
A boss.
No, in general.
Bald.
In a general person.
Ooh.
Andrei Kuzmenko.
Exactly. Yes, yeah.
Right? Because like amazing first year, horrible second year, right? And again, I'm not blaming fully on Ten Hag, but yeah. Continue.
I know. So like at the end of the day, only reason it could work this time better than that time is he actually has defenders, right? Like Maguire's been incredible. Lisandro's back from injury. Varane's probably gone, but like you actually
he's still there unless if he can.
Yeah, he's still there depending on when if it even happens this year. So he has defenders. So it could work better than it did last time.
Yeah, but for me, it's not it. I don't think this is the answer. I just feel like it's not. His personality won't fit that fit any real team now, in my opinion.
And then Mourinho's also at the end of the day, Mourinho's at the end of his career as well.
I see. I just see him being like a national coach somewhere, national team coach maybe somewhere. Or just make money in Saudi. But if he does have unfinished business, I just can't. I don't like the soccer. That's just me. I just did not like the style he plays in general. That's why I was never a fan of him. Again, not saying he's a bad coach or anything.
The style works.
It works,
but
depending on the team.
It's not fun to watch.
That's why. That's also the factor.
That's the factor
I'm throwing in there as well. But let's end it off on the NBA. A couple of news. First off, probably a Hall of Famer if you agree, right?
Marcus Gasol is a Hall of Famer.
Is his name Marcus?
I don't know.
Marc Gasol has officially retired from the NBA.
I always like extending names, you know.
I know what you mean. You're not the only one that does that.
But yeah, Marc Gasol, Raptor legend.
Okay. The Grizzlies will be retiring his jersey, most likely. Raptor legend. Well, yeah, he got you a chip. Don't get me wrong.
Exactly. But it's not like he did.
But he's not like Kawhi.
Yeah. But Marc Gasol, Grizzly, Raptor, Laker legend as well.
20 years professional, 13 in the NBA, has retired. Won the 2019 championship with your Toronto Raptors, making 3 All-Star teams, which is surprising.
Should have been more.
Out of 13 of them. One All-NBA, obviously Defensive Player of the Year that he won as a second All-NBA defensive.
Scammed his way to a...
Memphis plans to retire his number 33 jersey. Yeah.
This dude has scammed a Defensive Player of the Year, won a title, played for Memphis, played for the Raptors, and is considered
a storied franchise too in the Lakers.
And was considered a Laker as well.
Yeah.
And he has a brother that's also going to help his name grow as well. Marc Gasol, like, on all seriousness, he is an incredible player.
Dude, he's people say Jokic is the greatest passing big man of all time, which he probably is.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, I know people the older guys are going to say, Arvydas Sabonis and all these guys. Marc Gasol was that dude. When he came,
100%.
Put his defense to the side because he's a better defender than Jokic was. I'm not saying he's better than Jokic all time. Don't come at me for that. But I'm saying when you're talking about purely passing big man, he was elite at it.
Yeah, like legit watching these, like his like not behind the back, is like those backdoor cut passes.
Yeah, the top from just standing at the top.
Yeah,
of the
just those bounce passes. He incredible. Like Gasol was like a preview of Jokic, if you think about it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Minus the defense.
Yeah,
like Jokic's defense is not good as Gasol's defense was.
Yeah. Like Gasol was like obviously we're not saying like Jokic is like
Jokic carried his own team, which is why he's the greater
Gasol
player.
Didn't do that, but Gasol, like the play style of Gasol is very similar to Jokic, apart from Gasol's defense playing better and apart from Jokic probably just being better offensively.
Those Grizzlies teams should have been better than they were. Obviously, him and Mike Conley were a great duo, but you had Zach Randolph there as well for a little bit. That trio was somewhat underrated. Obviously, the furthest they went was the conference finals. Marc Gasol in general.
And he made an impact. He definitely was an impact player in the Raptors run as well. He
played for both our teams, I just realized.
Yeah, he did. He was definitely
like with the Lakers. Unfortunately, like as much as I loved him there, his footwork was so slow though. Even after he lost all that weight in the bubble.
Like if it wasn't for Gasol, obviously Kawhi Leonard is a big one. I don't think we get past the Sixers because he literally shut down Embiid.
Yeah, like he was the Embiid stopper.
Yeah, he was the Embiid stopper, and then
you wouldn't have done that with JV.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, congrats on retirement. Do whatever you're gonna do.
The big boss from Barcelona.
Yeah.
Still remember that.
Rising Stars has been announced. So this is again the sophomore and rookies. Again, we're not gonna say who got snubbed from this because we don't fully know. But we know the obvious people. The rookies are Bilal Coulibaly, Keontae George, Jordan Hawkins. Scoot made it. Chet Holmgren, Hami Hawkes, Derek Lively, Brandon Miller, Brandon Podziemski.
The Warriors legend.
Yeah. Kaysen Wallace, Victor Wembanyama. Sophomores returning back: Paolo Banchero, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Walker Kessler, Benedict Mathurin, Keegan Murray, Shaden Sharp, Jabari Smith Jr., and Jalen Williams, the number 8 dude.
Yeah.
I think they call him J-Dub.
J-Dub, yeah.
But the G League, the only guys that you'll recognize are Mac McClung, who might be back in the dunk contest. And Oscar Shibwe.
We need Mac McClung definitely in a dunk contest.
It's an indie this year, so let's see. But rest of the All-Stars should be filled up today, I think. February 1st it should be, so we'll react to them next time. But I want to end on this note here. We're going to talk about the NBA's new policy when it comes to All-Star, All-NBA, maybe not All-Star, but All-NBA and awards, the 65-game rule. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Joel Embiid is one of the factors in this. Tyrese Halliburton's 3 games away from not even being considered All-NBA. I think Joel Embiid is a couple of games away, but the reason why I'm bringing this up, they recently played the Warriors. He got hurt late in that game.
Yeah.
And Draymond, I agree with both sides of the argument. I want to know what take are you taking? Because this is argument 1. This is that way to implement regular season game for the stars to play.
Yes.
Right? There's a couple of rules. One, you have the in-season tournament for the competitiveness slightly. This is number 2 to play the 65 games. And then number 3 is I forgot what it was. Well, I
contract bonuses, all NBA teams.
No, not that. It was something else, but I completely forgot.
Then you have the other side, which is injuries.
So players forcing to play to make that thing.
To play and all that stuff. And yes, you do get both sides of it. But at the end of the day,
oh, sorry. It was 2 All-Stars cannot sit out at the same.
Okay,
or more than 2 cannot sit out or something like that.
So here's the thing, and I feel like this could be kind of a solution you may consider stupid, you may consider dumb, but it's the only thing that works in my head. I feel like if you have if you're sitting out for rest and stuff, I think the limit, you have to play at least 70.
Yeah.
Right. So you can only miss 12 max. But if you have or if it's 65, let's say it's 65, how it actually is, right? But I feel like if you have an actual injury, you could bounce back that lower number, but you have a minimum number. So you have 50, as a maximum.
So here's the thing, right?
Or a minimum to play. Still.
Yeah.
So if you're actually injured, you can't fault the player for that, right? You can't if Embiid plays 60 games and is due to an actual injury, and he's not the MVP, I'm gonna have some issues.
So here's the thing. We both agree right now. I think Embiid is MVP. I might consider Shea a little bit. As good as much how well Jokic is playing, I think is between those two at the moment. People might consider Shea because of how good OKC's been doing, but I think you could argue if you miss 1 or 2 games off the threshold that you could present your case that he was actually injured and he could still be considered. But that's tedious. I don't know if this is part of it. The NBA doctors have the neutral side of things, but the NBA doctors. But the problem is, if I'm telling you that your knee is fine, you should be able to play, and you're like, no, it genuinely hurts. You know your body more than another person does, even if it's an actual doctor. Right? Yeah, you could be faking it for sure.
Yeah.
But the doctor's like, yeah, this hurt. It doesn't. I don't see anything. And we've had situations where I've heard stories, not just athlete-wise.
I mean, we've seen it many times. Yeah.
Where I don't know what's wrong with my leg. Right. I mean, our mom was kind of similar.
Exactly.
They can't find a situation, but then there's something wrong with the leg.
Yeah.
You know your body more than any other person should, as long as assuming you're telling the truth, right? So it's so hard to implement it. I get both sides. If I'm going, we're trying to plan to go, to an NBA game eventually, whether it be or something like Toronto for you, or
LA.
me, Lakers, or whatever the case may be.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Just wherever we decide to travel once this picks up, obviously. It is we want to watch Giannis play. We want to watch both Giannis and Dame play together, or all 3 of the Suns play together, or the dynamic duo in the Lakers play together for me, or the 4 in the Clippers, etc. And that helps that way. The players will be playing, but then are the players going to be playing through injury like probably Embiid is right now?
Exactly. We don't know the full case for that.
But at the same time,
I do believe that there should be there should be a range. It shouldn't be strict 65, right?
But
I still think with actual evidence of an injury, a minimum number could be 50.
But to a certain degree, it worked a little bit because Anthony Davis only missed his 4th game this year, and he's known as Data Davis, right?
Yeah.
How much of that is he's not actually resting? How much of that he's playing through injury? We don't know because he actually was playing through injury, not the Hawks game, but the other game that he played. Kawhi played quite a bit this year himself. Right? LeBron's been up and down, but he still played a bit, right? So it's not I feel like the players are missing because of injury, but then when players see that oh my God, I might not be eligible, Embiid probably thought, I don't think Halliburton cares as much. Halliburton might be oh shit, I only have 3 more games, I might not get my all NBA bonus, right? Because at the end of the day, money talks.
Money is involved, yeah, money is involved.
So if you look at it that way, it's okay, I need to play, but then you're also hurting yourself even more long-term potentially and your team.
But then also, the only issue I could see with the thing I just suggested is that the people who actually do play the 65 don't get in because another guy played 50 type of thing. But then that's an argument as well.
But if Joel Embiid played 50 and he played well, and if it's over a guy I don't know,
say Miles Fox Turner or someone,
or even Miles Turner,
comparing
whatever.
centers, right?
Yeah, then I'm going with Joel Embiid. I'm sorry, right?
That's fair.
When you look at the All-Star game, people say okay, yes, we and you disagree. Damian Lillard should have not been a starter. And it's because the fans got him in. Jalen Brunson got more of the media and player vote. By the way, the players, Steven Adams got votes by the players. So it's not even just a fan issue. Fans don't know any better. The players are voting for people that have no business being there. They're just voting their teammates, just cause.
Yeah.
So like you can't at this point you have to. It can't be 50.
Try to make it legit, right?
Yeah.
Like
So,
at the end of the day.
yeah. But anyways, going back to this, it's it's something they got to figure out. I don't like obviously. Adam Silver's the type of guy who always fixes things. Like he said, he's gonna make tweaks to the in-season tournament. Let's see what those tweaks are. But yeah, ultimately we'll see because it is like if it's not gonna be like you're playing players injured. What's the point? You're not gonna see the best product. Like imagine like how Embiid got hurt. Yeah. Fortunately for the fan base, it's at the end of the game, but unfortunately he did get hurt. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if that was like in the first 2 minutes of the game, like some Gordon Hayward shit happened when he was in the Celtics, or Julius Randle when he made his rookie debut with the Lakers, shit happens. You can't control anything, right?
So, injuries. It's tough to control injuries.
Yeah, but that's our thoughts. I don't know fully as well, right? They gotta fix that up, and they gotta fix the All-Star voting.
Yeah,
up.
the thing is this: like one suggestion that we agree they implement, don't make it a strict 65. Give grace for actual reported injuries, and like do your due diligence to make sure it is like an actual injury. Don't be like, and as a player itself, actually be injured and don't fake one as well.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll keep it there right now. We'll talk about the All-Stars thing when the actual All-Stars get announced because I do have issues with the voting myself. I think you do too. But we'll wrap it there. One key thing I forgot to mention it during the NHL thing. NHL tier list will be dropping on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Most likely Saturday. So make sure you guys keep an eye out on that. One other key thing I want to let you guys know, we are dropping clip or from podcast episodes. So sometimes if you see the voiceover videos, those are genuine or other type of content we're trying to get out for you guys. Like the not the OKC one. The Canucks one we made, the first one. But the second Canucks one we made was from our podcast clip. The recent one we dropped, the Detroit Lions reaction, was from a podcast clip. So, make sure you guys watch those as well. But, from there,
it's just for you guys. Like we know that sometimes
life happens.
Hour-long pods, you can't watch them. So you can catch some clips.
But if you're wondering where those clips are from, these are from our 2 times a week podcast.
Those are I think those are the clips that we think was good conversation, good debate topic type of thing.
Yeah.
And we just try to promote those a little bit, and you guys could watch a little low-key highlight of the pod.
Yeah. So, but as always, those are from the podcast. So make sure you guys still watch the whole podcast if you're wondering what other stuff we talk. We are a variety sports channel trying to make this work. So you could hear us talk mainly the 5 major North American sports, I guess. And some
the
combat.
4 North American
plus soccer, and then combat in general.
Yeah.
But once again, appreciate you guys, everybody, for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials, all linked down below on the link tree. Audio listeners, download, rate it, and review it. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.